Welcome to the Horror Chronicles with your hosts, Ryan and JT. Now follow us through the deep, dark realm of the horror world. Let's talk all things horror. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Horror Chronicles podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me, as always, my co-host, JT.
What's going on, everybody?
All right, guys, and we got a good one for you today. This is, I guess, our first official episode, so to speak, since the first one was just an introduction. But today, we're going to do one called Night of the Demons. You guys might remember that. It came out in 1988, right?
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to let JT give you guys the tell of tape on this one here.
Okay, so Night of the Demons, basically the synopsis of this movie is, on Halloween night, 10 friends get together and they decide to have a party at a funeral parlor. And the funeral parlor name is called the Hull House. Pretty basic. They show up, start partying, decide they're going to have a seance, and basically evil ensues, and they end up being possessed. The teens gather around a big mirror to perform the seance, which is a big mistake. They awaken some evil force and find themselves trapped and taken over one by one. The rest of the movie is basically a battle to survive. The funeral parlor sits on a piece of land that's possessed by an evil spirit, and they have to escape the funeral parlor and cross a stream to escape.
To live.
So, yeah, that's pretty much the synopsis of this. There's not really a star-studded cast in this movie. Probably the biggest star is Linnea Quigley, which, I mean, if you're a horror fan, you know she's done a lot of horror movies. She was Trash in Return of the Living Dead. Yes, sir. Yes,
buddy.
sir. You know, others, main characters, Amelia Kincaid plays Angela. Billy Gallo plays Saul Romero. Kathy Podwell as Judy, Alvin Alexis as Roger, and Hal Havens as Stooge, which kind of funny. He wears a pig nose and kind of acts like a pig. And then Philip Tanzini as Max. And there's another girl, Franny, who is... Franny's her character name. Jill Terashita plays Franny. And... yeah, let's get into this and see what happens.
Yeah, like I said, like you said, there's not a big star-studded
no, definitely not a star-studded cast.
But it was good. It was good.
But the atmosphere of this movie is
awesome.
It is awesome. I mean, the creepy cartoon intro that they do, I just love it.
The intro music.
The music is really cool. The director of this movie was a guy named Kevin Teeney, and interestingly enough, his brother did the music for this movie.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is kind of cool.
He's got good taste.
You know, the director, Kevin Teeney, he's also known for Witchboard, which, if you've never seen that movie, fantastic movie.
We just watched that a couple weeks ago.
We'll be reviewing that, too, pretty soon. Brain Dead, which was really cool. I remember that.
I have not seen that one. I'm gonna have to watch that one.
Pretty crazy. And then a movie called The Cellar, which, I
believe I've seen that one.
Yeah. So, but anyway, today we're talking about Night of the Demons.
Yeah, one of my favorites. I'm telling you, this is one of the first movies I remember watching that really got to me when I was a kid. Granted, anyone else who knows this movie, which most of you guys probably do, me being a kid watching it, there's a lot of parts I couldn't see.
Oh, yeah.
But I just remember, the film, the way it was filmed, and, I just remember the soundtrack was just killer.
Yeah, it is. It's got a really cool soundtrack.
The intro is really cool, it just gives you that classic, nostalgic horror feel, you know what I mean? So what's our favorite quote of this? We'll give you guys a little warning. You're gonna hear a bad word here, but
we're just gonna tell you up front. If you have not seen this movie, we are gonna spoil it. We're gonna talk about the whole thing.
Yeah. So yeah.
And that's pretty much gonna be the norm for us. We're gonna be talking in depth about these movies. So if you haven't seen them and you don't want it spoiled, you might want to turn this off now.
Or watch it. Like, we're going to put up, you guys will be able to see on the podcast thing that this is the movie that we're doing. So, like we said before, just watch it first and then then listen to the podcast, guys. But, so, that being said, if you got little ears around, you might want to turn us off or send them out of the room, because we're going to give you what we like to do. We're going to try to give you guys our favorite quotes of a movie. And, of this movie, you want to do the honors?
No, go for it. All
right, in this movie, our favorite quote is from Stooge, and he says, and I quote, "Eat a bowl of fucks."
Yeah, eat a bowl of fuck.
Yeah,
sorry, I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Some people are leaving a party, and he doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to leave. The party's just getting started, and tells everybody. Yeah. Basically tells people, if you're going to leave the party, you can eat a bowl of fucks.
Which is awesome. I died laughing.
I've never ate fucks before, but hey, they might be good. They might be like Wheaties. I don't know.
Sounds like a party.
sounds like a party.
But
for
yeah,
sure,
that is
sure.
great. Yeah, I mean, overall, I love the feeling of this movie. The way it was filmed, like the atmosphere of it was great. Acting,
we're talking, mid to late 80s here,
it's not the greatest, but
not the worst either.
Not the worst by far, for sure. Like you said, though, they're not a big star-studded cast, which I don't really remember seeing most of these people in anything else. But that's not a big deal. It was a good movie overall.
Great movie. If you've never seen this movie, you've got to watch it.
It's definitely a classic.
It's very creepy, and it's a good Halloween movie because, of course, it takes part on Halloween night.
Yeah, and we might actually do part 2 and 3 possibly sometime, and the remake down the road. But this one we just want to do by itself.
Kind of interesting point about that. The writer of this movie was a guy named Joe Augustin. And coincidentally enough, he also was the writer on the remake too.
Yeah,
so
and
that's kind of cool. I mean, the first one came out in '88. The remake came out in '09.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I like the original better.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, the remake's kind of cool, but the original, I think, it holds a special place in my heart. Because,
mine too, for sure. Well, and the graphics, I think it's crazy. I'm not trying to go too far off of the subject here, but I just think the graphics back then were pretty cool for the time.
Well, they did a lot of practical effects back then.
Yes, and it made it kind of look real. So, just going to mention this real fast. Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake versus the original, as far as graphic goes. The part where she's laying in bed and he comes through the wall.
Yeah.
On the original, it looked real. He was actually coming through the wall, but in the new one they use a CGI and it just doesn't give that feeling.
Yeah, and a lot of people are going with CGI now because it's cheaper and easier to produce, but it doesn't give you the same effect by no means.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, one of my favorite scenes of the movie by far is the Stigmata scene when she's dancing to Stigmata.
Oh yeah,
dude, it's cool, so cool because it got the strobe light going. The Stigmata song playing, and see, Sal is sitting there watching the whole time, what's going on, and then when she starts dancing, anyone who's been in a strobe light before knows that when you move in a strobe light, it looks like you're moving faster than you really are, in your places you aren't. But you see her start to dance like that, and it doesn't show anything. It just looks like she's regularly dancing in the strobe light, but then as she starts to turn more, she goes to getting faster, moving different areas. So it's like they're trying to cover up that with the strobe light to, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is a cool scene for sure. Very sexy and sensual.
Yeah, it is an awesome scene.
And at this point, that scene, both Angela and Suzanne are already possessed. Suzanne gets possessed first.
Yep.
And then just a little bit later, she ends up possessing Angela by kissing her.
Yeah, just a few minutes
later. And the demon,
transfers.
Yeah, transfers from Suzanne to Angela, but yet it's kind of weird because they all stay possessed.
I think that's more of a Legion type thing. You know, I say when demons are Legion, there's many.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's what that is, that they're just, there's many of them. And so no one, I guess they all they die, but they don't really, they just get possessed, and then some of them get, you know, like there's a scene where they're in the coffin.
Oh yeah.
Doing their thing in the coffin.
Max and Franny in the coffin.
Yeah, I'm trying not to jump too far, like to make it weird when people gotta try to think about the movie. We literally just watched this movie, guys.
Yeah.
Like, just finished it.
And these are some of the cool scenes that we remember, you know.
So, you know, then you got Stooge, who's already possessed, who got possessed by Angela because Sal wanted to leave because he's like, dude, she's freaking weird, man.
Yeah.
So Stooge is all about the weirdness, as you'll know if you watch this movie.
Right.
And he goes in there, and then she bites his tongue off and possesses him by kissing him, I'm assuming, or whatever.
Right.
And bites his tongue off, and then he turns into this pig man face looking thing. And then he goes in and interrupts Max and Franny doing their thing in the coffin.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Another cool quote from the movie is when Stooge comes in and he sees Angela dancing for Sal, and Sal like gets up and starts to walk away. Stooge actually walks up behind him and scares him a little. But Sal's like, man, this chick is weird. I got to get out of here. And Stooge is like, you know, it ain't the weird ones you got to worry about.
Didn't your mom ever tell you that?
Yeah.
That's what he said.
So, you know, I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, Stooge, of course, as the name kind of says, he's the funny one in this, so to speak. He has a bunch of good quotes in here, stuff that I like. And see, what's the other one? The scene that got me when I was a kid that I can remember from watching this when I was younger is when she's in the hallway. Like, they have this really cool vocal thing they're doing with her. Like, I'm assuming she's breathing. It's just breathing.
Yeah.
It's not really growling or nothing. It's kind of just like a breathing, but it sounds like a growl breathing.
Kind of like a Darth Vader breathe.
Almost.
No, just kidding.
It's like a real growly, deep breath thing that she's doing as she's going down the hallway, floating down the hall after him. That's what I remember when I was younger. That really got me when I was a kid. Scared the hell out of me.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of cool, you know, cool scenes. I really like the scene where she tells Sal she's warming her hands by the fire, and when she turns around, her hands are on fire.
Seeing the graphics on that, again, back to the
they look really good.
They look good. They look like they're really just burnt up freaking hands, man.
But you know, I gotta say this, and this is gonna be kind of bad, but one of my all-time favorite scenes is Suzanne, who was played by Linnea Quigley. She's possessed, and she's in this room all by herself, and she's got a tube of lipstick, and she's like smearing it all over her face, and next thing you know, she pulls her shirt open, and you know, there's Linnea Quigley's boobs. Go figure. They're out in every movie. But she takes this tube of lipstick, and she runs it down her chest and like runs it around her boob, and then all of a sudden she shoves it into the nipple of her boob.
Like hard,
and it goes inside her boob and disappears.
Yeah, I was like,
I don't really know what that was all about, but cool scene though.
It's weird, man.
You know,
it was weird because
there was no CGI involved there. That was a practical effect, and they did a damn good job.
Oh, dude, yeah, they killed it.
I still don't know why lipstick in the nipple, but
I think back then
it's a cool scene.
I think
very memorable scene.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. I think back then it was just an excuse to get their shirts off.
Yeah.
I mean,
they did that a lot in the 80s.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
You know, it was all about TNA.
Well, that's what sold. You know, that's what sold back then, and I mean, it still sells today. But I just remember that, like, that's any excuse for they could be walking outside and, I got a raindrop on my shirt.
Right.
I'm gonna take it off.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, you know, it's funny nowadays. back in the 80s, sex sold. I mean, that's, everybody wanted to go see these movies. I know I wanted to see these movies because you might see some boobs or,
exactly.
A naked woman or something. Now, and then as you went through the late 90s into the 2000s, it was all about gore.
Yeah,
who can make the grossest, death scene or whatever.
Stuff. I'm not into those. But...
I'm not a big fan of the gore movies either. I like a little bit of gore, and this movie had some gore in it, but it wasn't over the top or, anything like that. What this movie had a lot of that I thought was very interesting that I had kind of forgotten about was jump scares.
Yeah.
The jump scares in this movie are crazy. I mean, they're like, I don't want to say they're constant, but there's
there.
A lot of them.
They're there.
A lot
yeah,
of
they're
them,
there for sure.
And they did it very well,
Yeah, I thought this came out earlier than 88. For some reason, I was thinking this came out like around 80, 85 or 86. I don't know why, but I guess it came out in 88. But yeah. For me, man, I don't know why. I love those practical freaking effects that you were talking about.
Yeah. And they did some cool stuff. So basically what happens is they decide to have a seance around a mirror, and they call it a past life seance. Mm-hmm. And so they're all staring into this mirror, and you can see the reflection in the mirror. Well, then all of a sudden the mirror goes black, and I think it was Roger was like, holy shit, and then all of a sudden the mirror, you can see in it again, and they all turn around and look at Roger. Well, then a demon's face pops up on the mirror, and then they all kind of freak out, and the mirror falls over and it shatters. Well, one of the cool effects that they do is you have all this shattered mirror glass on the floor, and all the characters come over, and like in each individual piece of the shattered mirror, you can see one of the characters' faces.
Yeah, faces and arms and different ones.
I thought that was kind of cool the way they did that.
Yeah, it's awesome because you got to pay attention to what their faces look like. Because at this point, I believe at this point,
well, this is when they release the demon, but they haven't really figured that out yet.
Yeah.
So they don't know what's going on.
See, and that's something I try to catch in that stuff is like you almost want to pause it and look at every single freaking piece because you don't know what you're going to miss out of it.
Right. Oh, yeah.
There's always something that you're going to miss.
But, yeah. And the old man at the beginning, it was kind of funny. They, Stooge moons this guy out of a car, and he drops his groceries or whatever, and apparently he's, the grumpy old neighbor that lives down the road or whatever. And so you notice that when he picks up his groceries, he's got like some apples. Well, they actually only show you one apple, which I thought was weird. Why the hell would anybody buy just one apple? And a pack of razor blades. So, I mean, we're talking the 80s. That was a big thing. That was a big scare around Halloween, is people putting razor blades on apples and, injecting candy bars with, drugs and stuff. I mean, it, can't say that I ever saw that happen, but you know what that leads into? Urban legends.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which we're going to get into a lot in later episodes. But yeah, it was just kind of interesting, and that whole apple and razor blade scene, it kind of comes back to you towards the end of the movie. But yeah. we'll get to that here in just a bit.
But for me, so we got to where we at here. They broke the mirror and all that. We already got to the scene wherever good old Stooge decides to interrupt some business going on in the coffin. And he ends up breaking Franny's neck.
Yeah.
And then throws her on top of Max, and Max is grabbing a hold of him, trying to get him to stop, and then he just persists to slam the coffin lid on his arm till it snaps off.
Yeah. Which looked pretty good.
I like it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, and then that graphic on that part whenever what's her name? The main blonde character, oh crap, why am I drawing a blank? The main character.
The main
the blonde
Judy.
She comes in there, and then there's a cool scene in that whenever she comes in there and she finds the arm laying on the ground.
Yeah.
And then the arm jumps up and grabs her. Right. And it looked really good.
It did. It looked really cool. I mean,
for being
for being late 80s. I mean, they did a good job on that.
Oh, it was
killer. This hand's got a hold of her ankle and it's flopping around and stuff. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Pretty good.
Cool. Yeah, there's just all kinds of neat, fun stuff in this movie. The whole atmosphere of the movie is just really cool. I mean, it's just creepy and campy, and
from the intro music to the freaking to just the way they filmed the scenes, like I said, the stigmata scene is awesome.
Yeah. And the scene where right at the beginning of the movie, like right after they do the seance part at the mirror, and they're all standing in a circle, and they've got the camera in the middle of them, and it's just
circles at their
spinning
faces
around, showing you their faces and stuff. It's kind of cool the way they film this.
Yeah, and the Laura Quigley. Linnea Quigley. Golly, man. You can tell she's like, with the horror scene, that she's just so comfortable.
Yeah.
Because the way
she's very comfortable with her body, too.
Oh, yeah, and that's something I didn't really...
She likes to be naked.
And when we say naked, we mean like full frontal.
Yeah, she's...
I forgot about it. And
yeah, so warn your kids. I mean, there's...
And Gerald even told me, or JT, as you guys who know him, he even told me, he's like, dude, she does that in like every movie.
Yeah.
And I got to think about Return of the Living Dead. Yeah, I just watched that not too long ago. She does it in that. I mean...
There's quite a few that...
But as far as that, but like just how comfortable she is playing in this horror genre.
Yeah.
And like the little funny, quirky thing she says, like whenever Judy's running from her.
Yeah.
Like she's like, run, Judy, run.
Yeah.
See Judy run.
See
and
Judy,
it's the way she's acting.
Yeah.
It's funnier if you see the way she looks and what she's doing when she's doing it.
Run, Judy, run. See Judy run.
There's a lot of comedy in this movie too, to go along with the scares and the little bit of gore you see. It's kind of cool that as these people get possessed and the movie goes along farther and farther, they just start looking a little more grotesque and
rotting, so to speak. Because
kind of. I mean, they almost are like zombies,
Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to say earlier. They don't really die; they just turn into freaking zombies or freaking demons. But it's kind of like you said. It's kind of like the closer that it's getting to daylight,
the worse they start
to get.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't help that towards the end, as the movie goes along, they're getting beat up pretty good, and then towards the end, Judy and Roger are trying to survive, and they end up trapped in a room where there's an oven because it is a funeral parlor, so they're in a crematorium.
Yep.
And Judy ends up, breaking a pipe inside the oven and lights it with a cigarette lighter and sets Stooge and Angela on fire. Which, if you notice, whenever you see Angela later on, she's smoking.
Yeah.
I mean, the girl's smoking anyway, but as you see, I mean, it's funny, there's like smoke coming out from underneath her dress and stuff. I thought that was cool.
Well, like you said, little things like you said with the cross earring.
Oh, yeah. The whole beginning of the movie, Angela is wearing this earring of a cross in her right ear. And after she becomes possessed, they don't point this out to you. We just kind of notice that after she becomes possessed, the cross is upside down.
Yeah, it's that little stuff that that catches you pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool little thing there.
Yeah, it's the little things that they think of in some of these movies that
now
I don't know. We're kind of geeks, so we notice a lot of that weird stuff.
Yeah. Now with it, I said with the graphics and stuff like that, they're good. I like some of that stuff. Now some of it's bad, like the face, their faces. I mean, Angela's is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Linnea Quigley's face,
could have been
Suzanne's face is a little, almost cartoony, kinda. But
well, you can tell,
but still cool. I mean,
you can tell that the contacts they had back then aren't what they are today. That's why. It's just those little things like that. There's just not the technology there to make it as good as Some of the stuff is great.
Yeah.
And I think it's better than
Well,
today's.
and the makeup artist in this, I'll be honest with you, the makeup artist was a guy named Steve Johnson, and I have never heard of this guy. I don't really know who he is or, anything else that he's done. I guess I should have checked in on that, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think he did a good job for the most part.
Yeah. They did all
the
right.
costume designer in this was phenomenal.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it is what it is. It came out in 88. What can you do?
Oh, it's a fun movie to watch. I mean, I
It's
highly
still,
recommend
I
this
love
movie.
it. It's a great atmospheric movie.
Yes, for sure. I mean, from the beginning to the end.
Yeah. I love the sometimes I love the campiness of movies.
Oh yeah.
What can you do? For that time, like you were saying, for that time it made it came out and made, or they made it for.
They I did notice that they produced this movie. It cost them $1.2 million to produce this movie, and it came out in Detroit. So it started in Detroit, and by November it hit New York, and was one of the top movies until the end of the year and grossed like $3.9 million.
Yeah.
It was crazy. That's a crazy amount of money.
Yeah, especially for back then.
For sure. So many movies, there's a lot of movies, folks, that they don't make back what they put into them.
Oh, well, I know. Okay. We are not going to get political on this podcast whatsoever, but just speaking of movies, there's a movie that came out, and I guess this really isn't super political, but anyway, there's a movie that came out, and I think it was I want to say it was what's his name? One of the hashtag Me Too guys that got busted. Anyway,
I don't know.
Anyway, he had a movie that came out. And it literally made, I think, like $200 or $300.
Yeah. What?
Total.
That's ridiculous.
Opening day, opening weekend or whatever.
I've heard about movies, doing some bad intakes like that.
I mean, and then there's movies that made great. Well, it was Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
That movie.
Shoestring budget.
And made almost I can't remember how much, like $300 million.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, the amount of money. But that's by today's standards. Some of the biggest ones, Halloween. Mm-hmm. Halloween was made for $250,000.
Yeah, that's nothing.
That is nothing.
There's
to
cameras.
Make a movie.
You can't even get rent a camera now for that much money.
And we don't even need to talk about how much money that movie's made.
Yeah, and still making.
Hell, just yesterday I went out because they've released the 4K version of Halloween. I went out and bought another copy of it. Did I need another copy of Halloween? Yes, I did. but hell, I've probably bought 6 or 7 copies of this movie because they keep releasing these, different versions. And when I heard that there was a 4K version coming out, I had to go get it.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Thank you, Carpenter.
Sometimes we go off on tangents. I mean,
but anyway,
just because we say that the movie, definitely gonna, if we do a movie, we're gonna do the movie like we have been. We're gonna talk about it. But sometimes we're gonna spin off into things if it comes up to us, just like talking about, money, how much they made, and goes into something else. Sometimes it happens because we're just having conversations about the horror.
Yeah, we go off on little tangents.
But we'll eventually get back to the movie.
Meanwhile, back to the movie.
Yeah, and then
just some really cool stuff.
Poor Sal. I remember when I was telling JT this whenever we started watching this movie. Whenever his character came into it, I remember when I was a kid, I was mad whenever he got killed because I wanted him to live because he was like the cool guy, So when I was a kid, I was like, "Oh man, Sal, that sucks." But he dies, saving saving Judy from Angela.
Right. Well, Sal kind of had a thing for Judy. Judy was actually dating the guy in the movie named Jay. And Sal always kind of had a thing for her. In fact, they dated one time. That comes up later in the movie. But, yeah, poor Sal ends up biting the big one.
Falls on a fence post.
Stake, yeah, or fence post, yeah.
Chest. What's funny about it, you're talking about how Judy's dating Jay. And they're in there, and he's trying, get his thing on with her. And she's not really having it. And the whole thing about Sal, oh, I see how you're looking at Sal. And she's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I know you guys dated. And she's like, we went out once. And to him, once is enough.
yeah, that was funny.
You just need to ask a girl on a date, and it's time to go.
Well, and it's funny because Jay is all into Judy, and, when she shoots him down, he kind of walks away. Well, he ends up running into Suzanne. And, at this time, Suzanne's possessed. And
she already has the lipstick in her nipple, put it that way.
Right. We still don't know why. Yeah, so there's a little gratuitous sex scene between Suzanne and Jay. And
it climaxes with her fingers going into his eyeballs.
Yeah, she ends up gouging his eyes out, and yeah, it's kind of funny. I like later on in the movie when she asks asks Judy about her blind date with Jay.
Yeah, and
the goofiness in this movie.
And whenever I believe it's Sal and Judy or Roger and Judy go into the bathroom and the lights come back on.
Oh yeah, that was Roger and Judy.
And she's Susan's sitting in the floor with Jay on her lap all dead.
Yeah.
And she's like, you guys want to have an orgy?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry, you're right. That was Sal. That was Sal and Judy that walked
and they're like,
there.
what the? And then she's like, I'm sure if we try hard enough, we can still get Jay hard or something like that.
Yeah. But,
she's classic, man.
Oh, yeah, she is. She is. We said she's classic, not classy.
It's definitely not classy, but she's classic.
But hey, we love Linnea Quigley.
Dude, she
does
just
some really cool stuff.
Well, like I said, it's just she's so comfortable.
She is
being in the horror world.
And she's great. And she's one of the Scream Queens,
Oh, for sure, which we will be doing an episode on them. So
for sure, we've got a bunch to mention there.
So yeah, if you guys want to put people in the running for it or want us to talk about,
hey, why don't we put up a post on the old Facebook page about what's your favorite Scream Queens?
Yeah, you guys hit us up and let us know.
And no, we're not talking about the TV series.
Definitely not. But just let us know who you want to put in for the running. We'll talk about. We'll talk about all of them for sure. Now, we're not talking about like Sharknado. Okay, Tara Reid. I don't want to hear nothing about Tara Reid being in there because she's far from it. You got your Jamie Lee Curtises. That's what I'm talking about, and you got your Linnea Quigleys, and
Tiffany Shepis, which a lot of people don't know who she is. But by the time we get done with this. These podcasts, you guys are going to know.
Yes. Yeah. And actually, I just seen, and she hasn't been in a bunch of movies, but everyone knows her. I just seen that preview or thing posted up of Elvira.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have to watch that.
Is she a Scream Queen, though?
Dude, she's... I guess she's not really
consider her a Scream Queen?
She's not a Scream Queen, I guess you would say. But, it's Elvira, dude. Like... Come on.
Yeah,
how can you not?
Yeah.
She's... I guess. I don't know. Granted, she hasn't been in a bunch of movies, but it's Elvira.
Yeah. Yeah. How could you not?
She's at least got to be mentioned. We'll put that honorable mention. How about that? We'll get into the Scream Queens later. We're going to do a whole episode on them.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
So we got Sal. He got killed saving Judy. And so far, everyone's dead except for Roger and Judy, because Sal just kicked the bucket.
And like we said, Roger and Judy, they get themselves trapped in the crematorium. And Angela and Stooge take the door down. And
Well, and
Judy lights their fire.
Yeah. Well, and in this scene, this is where she's coming to the conclusion, asking Roger questions as he's staring at her, like with having absolutely does not have a clue about what's going on in life right now.
And the questioning sequence in there is just, I don't even know what to say about that. You're just going to have to watch it. I mean, it's oh my God.
Right?
You know?
I mean, this is what she said, right?
What if?
The acting is not it's not horrible acting, but it's just,
And she's so calm the whole time she's doing it.
She's calm. And
if it was me, I'd be, shitting my pants. And
like Roger standing there.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Literally petrified.
Roger's all cowered in the corner, and she's just standing there like
hey, she's like MacGyver. Look, there's a pipe in here. Let's take this off. And
yeah, which, it's a cool scene, but yeah, that would never happen.
But in this scene is where they find out that they have to survive till daylight. If they can survive till daylight, then they'd be okay. And again, I really like because at this time, Angela and freaking Stooge is outside the door. And she's talking to the demon is talking, and it's really cool.
Yeah, it's really creepy.
The voice they got for the demon was perfect.
Open the door, Raj. We don't want you. We want the bitch. We'd never hurt a nice little boy like you.
Go to hell, you dirty bastards!
Well, not tonight, my boy. Oh no, not tonight. And rest assured, we've got something wonderful planned for you. So much pain, so much sorrow.
Like that's like the way he says it. Oh no, not tonight.
Yeah.
Not tonight.
Yeah. I like when they finally, when they set them on fire and they get away from them, and like they get to the front door and they can't get out the front door of the house, and then all of a sudden here shows up Jay, who, Suzanne gouged his eyes out, so he's blind, and then Angela shows up, and she's still
smoking.
She's not on fire anymore, but she's still smoking.
Got the steam coming.
And they escape from the house. They finally, Roger, doesn't he say something like, fuck this shit, I'm out of here, and he jumps through a window?
No, he's like, what happens is they kind of surround him into this room.
Yeah, all of the possessed people.
Yeah. And he's like, fuck this, you ain't gonna get me. And he runs
that's right.
Blows, which I said from the beginning, just blow through a damn window.
Yeah.
And then he blows through the window and the metal on it and stuff, and he gets out there and he's like, oh, I'm alive, and then she's still in there, of course, doing the whole blonde. What do I do? Do I follow him through this big open window, or do I sit here till they get closer and closer and closer to me, and then make my decision? But yeah, she gets out.
And then as they're running away from the house, here comes Stooge out the window, and then
they all start.
They all start piling out the window, and then Angela walks out the window, and one of the cool lines that she says is "Where are you going? The party's just begun."
Where you going? The party's just begun.
Yeah.
And I just love that.
Oh, dude, and then they know they have to get over the wall to get across this because
they got to cross the stream to get away from them.
And something most of the people listen to this know that demons or ghosts or whatever, they can't cross
vampires.
They can't cross running water. So supposedly, of course, that's the myth.
That's the legend. It's got to be true.
The legend. I seen it on the internet. It's got to be true. Anyway, so they have to climb this wall. Well, the only way to get up this wall is by grabbing barbed wire and just climbing up the barbed wire with all your body weight on it, which is funny because when they walk up to the wall, he tries to get Judy to go up it, and she's like, grabs it, she's like, ow, ow. And then here comes Stooge, comes out the window, and Roger's like, fuck this, just grabs it and starts just climbing it. Screaming, he's just getting up it like nothing.
Yeah, because it's funny, because when they get there, there's a gate that they go through.
Yes.
Well, the gate has disappeared, and now it's just a brick wall they've got to get over.
There's no gate, of course,
There's no way out.
There's no way out. But he climbs this, and then, he gets up on top of the wall, and he's trying to help Judy up it, and they're all coming towards her, and she's trying to climb, and of course she can't climb at all. Yeah, and she's just sitting there hanging.
I was just waiting for him to be like, damn, bitch, get your ass up this wall.
Well, and then he freaking grabs, and so he's got a hold of her hand, and then I think it is Stooge grabs her leg and when he grabs her, like burns her leg. I'm assuming just because he's a demon or whatever. But whenever he grabs him, it's almost like Roger's like, fuck this. He just lets go. Falls off the other side of the wall and he starts holding his ears. He's like, I don't want to hear her.
And she's screaming. Because she's holding on to this barbed wire, dangling from it, and it's cutting her hands. And these demons are pulling on her, and she's screaming and crying.
And Roger's just holding his ears like he doesn't do nothing. And then he pops up, of course, and
he comes back over the top of the wall,
grabs her hand,
grabs her right before she falls, right before these demons pull her down.
The climactic,
yeah,
and saves the day or whatever, and then they get out, and as they're on the other side of the ground, laying on the ground, looking up, you see the smoke coming from all the demons that have just melted and nothing because it's getting daylight.
Right.
And you see the main demon head pop up and do its little
over the top of the wall. Yeah, because it's Halloween, and that's the whole thing about the movie is these demons don't have to go back to hell because it's Halloween. Halloween's the one night of the year that the demons can get out and run amok. Yeah,
which is cool. I love that aspect of Halloween. It's one of the main things I like about Halloween. Yeah. It's a little side note. I'm ordained, but it's mainly because I was on a search and rescue team. And we had to have it just in case we ran across somebody that needed their last rites or whatever,
Right.
And so I've done a lot of weddings for friends and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, one of the weddings I did was a Halloween themed wedding, and it was on Halloween.
Nice.
And it was pretty cool. And I remember when I wrote it, I wrote the little beginning for the wedding and stuff. I said, if you're afraid that. Because at this time, my friend that was getting married, his cousin had just died.
Oh.
A really close cousin of his. And I said, in the thing, I know some of us have loved ones that we fear can't be here, but don't be afraid because tonight is Halloween. And on this night, the dead can come back to the earth.
Yeah.
So they're here with you.
The veil is lifted. And
they thought that was just cool.
Yeah, thought it was cool.
And I thought that's pretty cool about Halloween, man. That's one of the things about it that we love, And of course, you guys are going to know because we're going to drop this, but it's October, so we're coming up on the great time of the year.
Yes. Cannot wait. Wait.
Let's finish this movie out, and then we can talk about whatever we want.
So, anyway, they get over the wall. Then we see the demon's head pop up in the sky over the
screaming,
and it's screaming and doing its thing. Well, then the scene cuts and it comes back to
daylight.
Judy and Roger walking down the street. They're still in their Halloween costumes, but now they're all tore up and all messed up, got blood all over them and stuff, and they're walking down the street, and the same old man from the beginning comes out to pick up his paper out of the driveway, and he starts yelling at him, "You damn kids been out all night.
You damn hooligans," or whatever.
Hooligans or floozies or something like that, It's just kind of a funny scene. Well, then the old man, he walks into the house, and he's a grumpy bastard. And his wife, he sits down at the kitchen table, and his wife walks up, and she hands him a piece of pie. He starts to eat the pie, and he asks her, he said, "So when did you make this pie?" And she's like, "Oh, I just made it." And he was like, "You just made this pie?" And she's like, "Yeah, I made it from scratch." And then she says, "I don't know why you always buy so many apples. The kids don't like them." And then it goes back to his face, and his face is all bloated up, and then all of a sudden you start seeing his neck split open, and all this blood running down his chest, and then you see the razor blades coming out of his throat.
And he faces...
Old bastard got what he deserved.
And he goes face down in the plate, and then his wife just comes up and kisses on his head and says, Happy Halloween, dear.
Yeah.
So
what a cool movie.
Pretty
what
cool
a cool
to
movie.
the end of the ending, man. That's the gist of the movie, guys. I mean, it's
I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was fun to watch.
It's one of
I hadn't seen it in years, and
it's one of those movies. It's one of those movies where if you're at home and you're bored, like I want to see if I got it. What movies do I have? And you haven't seen it, in a while. It's one of those you can just throw in. You're gonna like it.
Oh yeah,
you know,
it's a fun movie. It's definitely something you want to watch around Halloween because it takes place on Halloween night and it's all about the scare.
Yeah, great movie, guys. I would definitely recommend it. I wouldn't recommend watching it with your kid. I remember when I watched it when I was younger, and I mean, great, you can cover your kid's eyes. That's what my parents did. My older sister and brother did. There's not a terrible amount of
nudity.
There's probably 6 scenes that have brief
nudity,
nudity in it. So you can cover up the kid's eyes for that brief amount of time. Yeah. And I mean, there's cussing in it, of course, but that's just words are words to me.
Oh yeah.
You just got to teach your kids not to say those words.
Right.
Right. But yeah, I would definitely recommend it, and for sure check it out. We're gonna do probably 2 and 3, and we're gonna do
at a later date.
At a later date sometime. We're gonna get around that stuff because like we said before, we're gonna be doing urban legends and haunted houses and paranormal stuff and just stuff about demons. Like I want to do some stuff on just demon, like Valak and Bilal, Bilal,
right,
and stuff like that.
Pazuzu,
and stuff like.
And then of course we'll talk about Satan.
Yes, AKA my 5-year-old.
Wow.
No, he's not. Wow. He's not that bad. He's a great kid actually. He's just a little brat sometimes. But anyway, yeah, and I think our next episode we're gonna try and do an urban legend.
Okay.
And I think we're talking about possibly doing the Vanishing Hitchhiker, right?
Ooh, yeah. I've got a lot of stories about the Vanishing Hitchhiker.
So I think,
one of the biggest is Resurrection Mary, and we'll talk about her.
Yep. So definitely on the next episode, guys, we're going to be doing an urban legend. What we're going to try to do here for the first few episodes is give you guys examples of what we're going to be doing. So like the first one, this one was about a movie, Night of the Demons. The next one we're going to do urban legend. And then after that, we'll probably do like a haunted place, like Westminster, or not Westminster, but gosh dang it, I'm drawing a blank on it.
Waverly
Hills. That's what I was thinking. Waverly Hills or
Limp Mansion or something. Just a haunted place.
The Overlook, something like that.
Yeah. We may even talk about the Goatman's Grave in St. James.
Yeah, there's no telling because this is where we're from. We're in this area. And we're also going to be getting into just random, like the origin of vampires. Yeah, we'll get into that and have an episode about that, origins of werewolves. We're going to give you guys as much as we possibly can because we love talking about it. So,
and we're goofballs, so we'll talk about stuff like what would happen if a vampire bit a werewolf.
Yeah,
or if a werewolf bit a zombie.
It's all kinds of random.
How do you get a witch pregnant? Just goofy. No.
But definitely gonna get into like I said, our next episode will be an urban legend, and it's gonna be about the Vanishing Hitchhiker. So, and then after that, we'll do the paranormal one, and then probably after that, we'll get into like
more movies,
more movie stuff. We just want to give you guys some examples at first, and then it's going to be random and sporadic.
Yeah,
we're not going to be.
It's going to be whatever the hell we want to do.
Yeah, basically, we're going to be like, hey man, what do you want to do this week? And then whatever we say, that's what it's going to be. Maybe 2 movies in a row, maybe freaking 2 urban legends. Who knows?
Yeah. And there may be times where we end up doing a new movie that maybe you guys haven't even heard of.
Well, we're going to be doing definitely movies that are maybe not new, but stuff that people either forgot about or just didn't get out there.
Right. Hell, people listening now may not even know about this movie.
Exactly, which is awesome, man. That's the whole point. Is that our family, our horror family, gets put on to all of this,
Right. They may only know about the remake. And maybe they, think, oh, remake? I didn't know that was a remake. Yeah. I need to go back and watch the original.
Sweet. Yeah. And, but like there's movies like the great movie, and I'm going to have to go watch it again, is Near Dark.
Yes. I haven't watched that in a long time.
I haven't watched that and I can't even tell you how many years. It's probably been 15 years since I've seen that movie.
Yeah. Well, that's probably about how long it had been since I had seen this movie. You know, I had watched it a long time ago, and I had not really forgotten about it. I just haven't watched it.
It's just to the wayside. And that's the whole point of the podcast, guys and family. We're just here to put everybody into this stuff.
Yeah, and by the way, this is kind of a hard movie to find. In fact, the only way we could find it was on YouTube.
It sounds like it's weird. That's a hard movie to find, but I got it on YouTube. But
yeah, I mean, well, I tried renting it.
Yes.
And it's not in the video store that we have anyway. And
buying it
I
is
tried
expensive.
to buy it. I thought I had seen it at the stores, but I could never find it. So I got online. I did find it online that I could have bought it, but, you know, Amazon had it.
Yeah.
Amazon had some crazy versions that were like, I don't know, $70 or something like that.
Yeah, it's.
I was like, what?
One of those movies that, but luckily it's on YouTube. So,
yeah.
you
So,
know, you get,
and it looked really good on YouTube.
oh yeah, I've watched it on my cell phone.
Yeah, we ran it through my TV and it looked fantastic.
Yeah. So, you know, that's one way for you guys to get these. We're going to try and give you guys, if we can, tips on getting harder movies to get, you know. There's just a lot of them out there that are just so rare, and you have to pay freaking ridiculous amount of money to get them.
Right.
It's crazy,
Right.
you know. But luckily, most of the great ones, you know, are
Yeah.
easy.
Or
Well, what's that? We just seen that thing on Facebook that Phantasm was playing in freaking theater, man.
Oh, yeah.
I would freaking love to see that in theater.
Yeah.
Even now, I'll go watch it in theater. I love it when they do that. At theaters down here, I'm sure they do it everywhere, but down here, they have like Thursdays and they play like older movies,
Right.
you know,
right.
on Thursdays and stuff like that.
Speaking of Thursday, next Thursday,
Oh, yeah.
Halloween 2018.
Yeah.
I am so excited.
Cannot
dude.
freaking wait, man. And to be honest, guys, we may do an episode on that once we watch it. So,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, we'll have to see how that works out.
yeah, because I don't want to spoil nothing for anyone.
No.
So we may wait a few weeks, but
We might record it, but we won't release it. for a few
Yeah,
weeks.
we'll probably record it one, but we won't. So if anything comes out afterwards, after, you know, say we drop it in a month after a movie comes out, but there's stuff that's come out.
If you
about
haven't
it.
seen it within a month of it coming out, shame on you.
Yes, you get out there and you see that, and you make
Wow,
sure
I
you.
just shamed our audience. That's-
Hey,
I'm sorry.
sometimes you gotta shame your family into doing things they need to do. But no, get out there and support the movie. This is what we need.
for sure.
This is what we need, everybody. We need people to put money into these horror movies. That way they keep making movies and putting them out there, and they got good blockbuster hits right off the bat, you know?
Yeah.
That way
Oh,
you know, it keeps the franchise alive. It keeps the genre alive.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
There's some really cool stuff coming out at this time of the year. You know, Netflix just released a really cool series called The Haunting of Hill House. And it's based off the book and the two movies, The Haunting. You know, I'm about 3 or 4 episodes into it, and it's been pretty creepy.
yeah.
So,
I don't know. You know, I don't watch too much terrible amount of TV, but that's a good thing about having both of us is that, you know, we can kind of focus on different things.
yeah.
You know, I tend to watch the TV series like Paranormal State. It used to be.
Yeah.
There was another one. Oh, what was it called? Paranormal Witness.
Yeah.
I
And we're
watched
going to get
it.
into a lot of those, too.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so, guys, I think that's going to be it, really, for the podcast today. We should be dropping this,
Maybe tonight, if I can
Maybe
get it
tonight.
edited down. And
but anyway, it's not going to matter because you're not going to get this till you get it, so you won't know when we're dropping it. But anyway, guys, thanks for listening, and keep it creepy.
yeah, for sure. Thanks, everybody.
Until next time.